ice maker to cool down. Okay. Hey everybody, this is Christina from Gulf Coast Sourdough. Thanks to everybody who came out to the shop today. It was great to see you. It was the first time we were ever open on a Sunday and you guys came out. It was awesome to see everybody there. We loved seeing all of you. And when we put the word out that we had Sourdough Starter and we were going to be doing some baking videos this week, while we think a lot of people have time on their hands and are really interested in baking, judging by the fact that there is no flour at Publix, you guys came out. You guys wanted it. So this is a little quick video we're doing right now about how to care for your newly adopted sourdough starter. So congratulations, you now have a new pet or child to care for. So this is our starter. Our starter is named Bilbo. It is about 10 years old at this point, so you've actually adopted a middle schooler, so congratulations. And I'm going to show you how to feed it. So the things that you'll need are your sourdough starter that you got from us today, or maybe you got it from a friend, or maybe you have this weird random jar sitting in your fridge and you don't know what to do with it. Pull it out, let's do it. But the starter. You need flour. This is our flour that we use. It's King Arthur bread flour. It is unbleached and unbromated. So that's the important thing that you want to look for when you're buying flour at the store, or we right now are selling our flour at the shop since flour is so hard to come by these days. So you just want to make sure that you're getting something unbleached, unbromated. King Arthur is always unbleached, unbromated. So, and it's very quality flour. So that's what we use at the bakery. You're going to need water. So every living organism on earth needs water, including sourdough starter. And you are going to need a food scale. So we teach this in our classes, we use them at the bakery. Measuring things on a food scale is just a lot more accurate. And despite living in the United States, we use the metric system when we are measuring out our recipes and everything, just because it's a lot easier and it's more precise to scale it, or just to know that you're putting exactly the amount that you are looking for when it comes to feeding your sourdough starter for flour and water. You can use whole wheat flour if you'd like. We just choose to use the bread flour, so it's totally up to you. When it comes to the amount of starter that you need to have on your hand, people always ask us, do I need to have a lot of it? The answer is no. Sourdough starter will actually double in size about every 8 to 12 hours. So you don't really need to have a ton on hand. You can see that my jar here is maybe about 1/3 full, not too full at all. And I'm planning to make a loaf of bread with it at home. You can see we're in our home kitchen, we're not in the bakery. So we wanted to show how we do this at home, just like you guys are all at home. You need to feed it flour and water like we talked about. So this is how you do it. I'm putting it on the food scale, turning my food scale on. You want to make sure that the food scale is at 0, and you want to make sure that you're in grams. So if you aren't at 0, generally food scales will have this tare button, and so you just push that and it will zero out. So I'm going to go ahead with my flour, and I'm going to slowly pour it in, because sometimes food scales, the ingredients go a little more quickly than the food scale can catch up with. So I'm at about 46, 47, 49, oh my goodness. Do a little bit more. Okay, we're up to 50. So that was 50 grams of flour. So now, another nifty trick, even though 50 plus 50 is very easy to add, but you can also, after you add the flour, hit the tare button again, and it will zero it again. So you know you're gonna put in 50 grams of water. Very slowly again, like I said. Sometimes the ingredients can go a little more quickly than the food scale is ready for. Okay, so I'm at 52, that's pretty good. So, looks all clumpy, looks not well mixed. Gonna mix it up. You are looking for a pancake batter consistency. So see, this is not good. You want to keep mixing. You can still see dry flour. You don't want that. You can still see clumps. Don't want that. You can use a fork. You can use a whisk. You're not going to hurt it with the tools that you use. So we're just about good. You can see it's kind of thick and kind of gloopy. You can go like that. Actually, there's still clumps in it, so I'm gonna keep going. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, yep, so that's fairly thick. You want it to definitely be thicker than water, but not so thick as like cake icing or something like that. So we're just gonna put it down. Doesn't have to be on the food stick. And so now it's fed. So after you feed it, you want to wait about 4 to 8 hours before you're gonna use it in a recipe at a minimum. So it's about 9 o'clock at night right now. We are planning to do another video tomorrow morning where we're mixing a recipe. And so I'm just gonna leave this on the counter overnight and use it in the morning. So you don't need to keep it out and feed it all the time. Sometimes we hear people have a fear of commitment when it comes to sourdough starter. They feel like it's just too big for them to take on because they feel like they have to be feeding it all the time. That's actually not true. You can think of your sourdough starter as like a bear. So the bear goes into hibernation, wants to be fed before it goes into hibernation. And so you feed it and then you put it into the fridge, and you can actually leave it in the fridge for up to a month and without feeding it, without looking at it, without acknowledging its presence. And it'll generally be just fine a month later when you want to pull it out and start using it in recipes. So there's no need to keep a whole lot of it on hand. If you do store it in the fridge, you want to use a lid, obviously, but you don't want to have the lid super tight. So you can click it tight, but you can see I'm leaving a little bit of a gap here. The reason for that is because the yeast and bacteria that are in the sourdough starter, they do let off gas. And if you put that into a tightly closed container, it will explode. You can ask my cousin Allison all about it. One day she woke up to an exploded jar of sourdough starter in her fridge because we forgot to tell her about that part. So I'm telling you now, don't close your lid too tightly. But this starter, like I said, we're planning to use it for a recipe tomorrow morning. So I'm actually just gonna leave it out on the counter. You wanna make sure before you use it to mix into a recipe that it is bubbly, that it looks happy, that it's at about room temperature, and then we will be ready to mix in the morning. And I think that's about it. So thanks everybody. We're really excited that there are so many people who are very interested in sourdough baking. During normal times, we teach classes at our bakery. So in the future, once we're able to be in groups of more than 10 at a time and close together, we will be able to teach classes again. But in the meantime, we wanted to do these videos for you guys and get that sourdough community going. So thank you, and we will see you later.